Welcome to Module 1. In this first module, I'm going to line up some important concepts that you need in order to understand the fundamentals of reprogramming. In this first chapter, we're working with the concept of reprogramming. What is reprogramming? Reprogramming is the process of changing an existing pattern for something more desirable. For example, let's say that you have a pattern of communication that could be limiting your opportunities. Your way of communicating or presenting yourself to others could be causing certain friction with people. You don't come across the way that you would like, or you're shy, or you're too forward, and people see that as a negative way of communicating. That pattern could be improved, finding the root of why you're communicating in that way. That's what we do in reprogramming. And then we project what you're looking for with your communication. We're going to find out what is your goal of communicating. What do you really want to accomplish with your communication? And then we create a new pattern, a new path that then is implanted in yourself as the pattern that you're going to use from now on for communication. You will learn that during this process of reprogramming. Also, if you don't have a pattern, because let's say you haven't had the opportunity or the need of perceiving something in a certain way. Let's say you can't communicate very well with children because you haven't had the need, you haven't been in that position. So your communication with children is very limited. You don't have a way, you have no idea how to communicate with children. So you need a different pattern, a different way of understanding communication in order to communicate effectively with children. It's not the same talking to an adult to talking to a child. So creating a new pattern and implanting a non-existing pattern that you want to design in order for you to improve yourself in any way is also part of reprogramming. Some of our subconscious patterns could be the result of assimilation. We observe something, we learn it, and then we assimilate it as part of our identity. Other patterns could be the result of cultural assimilation or religious assimilation or gender assimilation or many other, even natural assimilation, like being in an environment, and then just from being there we start creating patterns based on our identity with that environment. So there are many things, and we are designed to actually do that. What happens is that when we assimilate all these identities, when we add all these patterns as part of who we are, is that we can't see them because there is no distance. We are in them, so there is no way for you to see yourself outside of yourself. And that's what we're doing here in reprogramming, is creating a map to allow you to have this observer perspective in which you can actually see what's happening. You create a map, a road that shows you where your behavior, the root of that behavior is coming from and how it is limiting you. It's something that you actually do as a self-evaluation because you're the one who knows how that perspective or that behavior or that thought is really limiting you. You're the only one who knows this. But if you see it in that way, in that perspective as an observer, it creates this awareness of what's happening, and it allows you to also create a projection. How would you like for you to design that pattern instead in order to experience whatever you really want to experience? Instead of that limitation, you want to have something more expansive, something that opens up more opportunities for you. How do you see yourself if you didn't have that particular limitation? How would you like that to be? And then we find out why is that happening by getting to that root of the patterns. Very good, guys. In order to start with this process of awareness, I would like you to get started with your first assignment. Please create a list of all those patterns of thought, behavior, perception, or even physical functions that you could think that are limiting you in any way. Just write them in a list. There's no need to evaluate anything right now. Just put them in a list, and then we're going to work with those in the next modules. Also, if there is a pattern of something that you're not experiencing right now, and you would like to make that part of your life, something that you're not doing, like speaking in public or being more outgoing, things that you don't have right now at all, like how to communicate with children, for example, how to communicate with women or men, or things like that, things that you don't have pattern that you don't think that you know how to do that, or even how to feel abundant, or how to feel complete, or how to feel happy. Sometimes we just don't know how. And that's why we can't experience those things, because we don't know. We haven't had those experiences in an intensity that we can say, oh, that's how being happy feels like, and I want to feel like that, because we don't have a history of pattern. So very good, guys. Please write those lists, and we're going to use them in the next modules. Thank you. See you next.